Now let's just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. So if you are sitting at a table or a desk and you're not in a chair that's big enough for you to be able, or wide enough for you to be able to sit in a cross-legged position, your legs are down, have them in a parallel position about a hip's width apart. And really try and feel the sensation of your feet on the floor. Some of the weight of the feet on the floor. Knees are about a hip's width apart. And try and sit on top of your sits bones as best you can. And for those of you who are sitting in a cross-legged position, it's really a good idea, I mean, for all of us, but also for people in a cross-legged position, to have something just underneath your sits bones. And this really does change changes the angle of the pelvis. Makes it easier actually to sit upright. So now imagine your shoulders are aligned with the hips. And as best you can, your ears aligned with your shoulders. And now just imagine your spine is this beautiful string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. And just try and put some space in between those vertebrae. A little bit of length in the back of the neck. And then bring your awareness to the crown of the head, and you may notice some sensation there or not. And then relax the forehead. And just release any tension around your eyebrows or your eyes. Relax your eyelashes. And the back of the eye. Relax the nose and the cheeks, the mouth, and the jaw, back of the tongue. Relax your ears and your temples and the back of the head. The neck, the shoulders. Allow your shoulder blades to drop down and relax the throat and the chest and the belly and all of your limbs. You can have your hands either resting on your knees or on your quads, or in the regular meditation posture for our tradition, which is the right hand nestled in the left with the thumbs touching. So try and maintain this position as best you can. It's not about sitting correctly so much as the most effective way to allow the chi, the energy, the breath, the blood, the lymph to flow, which of course will make for a better meditation session. So it's really all of this stuff we learn in our practice is really quite practical. And sometimes it gets translated into woo-woo, but it's kind of not. It just kind of makes sense. So be aware of any sound in your environment. So just allow the sound to be there, trying not to follow with the mind or running off with your consciousness to investigate. So just try and keep your mind in the same place your body is. And then notice if there's any thoughts that might be arising in the mind, and just allow those thoughts to be there. So without any engagement or without any opinions or criticism of what you might be seeing there, I just take a step back and observe. And just try and be objective. So what you see is an observation, not a judgment or an opinion. It's actually a lot more difficult to do than we realize. So the idea is to try and not follow the stories. Just allow them to be there, allow them to arise. And then just by not following it, by not engaging, it's not going to go anywhere. It'll probably just disappear and then the next thing will arise. So bring to mind some people of your life. So you can start with your loved ones, these people who are very precious, very dear to us, that we have these extraordinary connections with. Then we have our strangers, and then we have all these people in our life who, maybe we don't like them so much, or they irritate us, or we have aversion for them. And, no matter how we feel about these people, we always have to keep in mind that due to impermanence, due to karma, these relationships can be interchangeable. And again, no matter how much we think about each person, whether we value one more than the other, they're all equal. They're the same as you and me, and they wish to be happy. They wish to be free from suffering and having this extraordinary capacity for a Buddha mind. So we think there is no negativity that can't be purified. And this means everybody. Well, some people have done some things that are really, really heavy. But there is no negativity that can't be purified. So we think we'll do this practice this evening for all these people of our life, and by all and for all sentient beings, no matter what they've done. So this meditation is a psychological process. So we create negativity with our mind. So equally, we can change that by creating positivity instead. And this practice is done in the context of the 4 opponent powers, the first of which is the power of regret. So we sincerely regret from the depths of our heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your mind, your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, and having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we might experience. And we know from our present suffering, we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this. I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, okay, so what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. So we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, who has these methods that we can use to kind of heal ourselves, to purify ourselves. And we're not necessarily needing Buddha to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his medicine. So you imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And you can imagine he's made of this beautiful, blissful, radiant white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. He has a beautiful, radiant face. His eyes are peaceful. They're shaped like lotus petals, and they're looking at you and all sentient beings with absolute compassion and love, no critical thought whatsoever. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot, and his arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right, the left holding a bell representing wisdom, the right holding a vajra representing the indestructibility of compassion. And so their being crossed represents enlightenment. So that's the union of the two, wisdom and compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened by this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva. May I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So we have this little section on compassion and think. In order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we have harmed and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So you can think of people you've harmed recently, and then those who have harmed you, and just have compassion for them. This is a wish for them to be free from suffering. Particularly for the ones who've harmed you, the harm they've caused you is going to result as suffering for them sometime in the future. So now we come to this power of remedy, and this is the medicine doing the practice of purification. And we use visualization and mantra. So we start with the body, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely, and it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid, and this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita meboa Sitokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa Sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita meboa Sitokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa Sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita meboa Situkaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita meboa Situkaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita meboa Situkaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita meboa Situkaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita meboa Situkaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ah Hum Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think that there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And then next is this purification of our speech. And imagine Vajrasattva very happily, again, sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra. Imagine it arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forces up through the top parts of the body all the negativity of your speech. And it just kind of overflows quite powerfully and disappears. So you imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and our useless speech, rabbiting on about nothing kind of speech and lying, talking about people behind their backs, getting other people to agree with you. All of this is purified by the powerful nectar filling you as we recite our mantra. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mempiyatsa Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ah Hum Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything but benefit others now with your speech. And next is this purification of our mind. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So imagine you walk into a room and it's pitch black, and then you flick on the switch, and the light that comes instantly dispels the darkness. So we all know this. So imagine now the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, and all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, so all your attachment, neediness, bitterness, grudges, anger, disappointments, jealousy, anxiety, depression, all of this instantly dispelled, not one atom left as we recite the mantra again. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anorecta meboa, Sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawakama sita me, Sitam Shiam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe, Ambajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasafa Dina Patita. Jida meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anorecta meboa, Sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawakama sita me, Sitam Shiam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe Ambajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorecta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shiam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorecta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shiam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And think that now there's no space in your heart for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. And next is this purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. So we're working at a much more subtle level here. So you imagine that Vajrasattva sends light and nectar together, and it fills you completely and eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your mind. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drina Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorecta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shiam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Humpe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drina Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorecta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shiam kuru hum ha ho bhagawan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a humpe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Drita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anorecta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shiam kuru hum ha ho bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Humpe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorecta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shiam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Humpe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorecta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shiam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Humpe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorecta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shiam kuru hum ha ho bhagawan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a humpe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Drita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anorecta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shiam kuru hum ha ho bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe. So now feel you're completely purified and there's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to this power of resolve, and this is the fourth and final step in the purification process. And it's really crucial because this is where we make a decision that we want to refrain from harming, and, with our body, our speech, and our mind. And without making a decision like this, we're just going to keep doing the same old things over and over again. So first of all, rejoice in your effort in coming along tonight, or this early this morning for Shrey, and for the middle of the day for my Australian friends. And then think of something, perhaps some little habit that you have. Maybe it's biting your fingernails, eating too much sugar, whatever it is that you do that might be harmful to yourself and others. And just think about how you could refrain from that. Maybe it's negative self-talk, something. And just think about one little thing. Think about it for a few minutes or a second or so, 1 or 2 times a day between now and tomorrow. And just see how that goes. And remember, Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wants to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. And next, Rinpoche would recommend to meditate on emptiness. So he would go like this. In emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level your mind understands emptiness, place it there for a little while. We can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. You can also think the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So now we do these 3 verses from chanting the names of Manjushri, which was recommended by His Holiness for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, who passed in April last year. Endowed with every form, yet free from form, supporting half of 16 bindus, transcending every grouping void of members, sustaining dhyana's 4th and final peak. Aware of dhyana's each and every aspect, with knowledge of samadhi's types and families, the best of bodies, body of samadhi, the sovereign king of all enjoyment bodies. The best of bodies, emanation body, the heir to emanations of the Buddhas, with varied emanations everywhere, while benefiting all, however needed. So let's just dedicate for the long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama and the swift return of our precious Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And for all of you who have your own teachers, maybe different lineages, make a strong wish for them to live long and to have happy and healthy lives. And everybody, thank you very much. Lots of love, and I will see you all tomorrow night. And sleep well. Have a great day, Shrey, because your day is just beginning. And Jay's in the middle of her day. And good night, particularly for you people on the East Coast of the United States. Okay, and Canada.